I've received a question, and it was a really good question in a comment, so I'm going to make a video about it. First of all, I'm going to read the comment to be completely authentic. I'm not going to paragraph, I'm just going to read it out. I'm not going to learn it so it looks perfect on screen. So, this person, thank you for sending in this question. I'm not sure what your name is because your handle doesn't seem to be your name. But it says, this guy, haha, love your style. Thank you. Love your transmissions, love your work. Thank you. Can you please talk about blockages in chakras more? I'm clearing them. Or more like being made to clear by surging energy. Ha, that's awesome. And how to feel into stuck emotions. Unworthiness at the back of the heart, so deep, every day, a few hours. Been at it for years, but so much karma to feel and burn. Anger in the stomach that's linked to this unworthiness. Bitterness in the sacral, and how that's connected to the stomach and the heart. The whole thing is a mess. A mesh, more like mess. But damn, it is not worth it. And what a time you guys are helping with these transmissions. Thank you, gratitude. The first comment I'm going to make about this is my previous video, is learning to be authentic with yourself. So can I talk a little bit more about chakra blockages in chakras? Okay, your chakras, when you are born, it is said you are born with your chakras open. Perhaps you have seen The Last Airbender, when the yogi or the guru talks about unblocking the chakras. It's such a great explanation. So you're born with your chakras open, and over time, through your programming, that you're told that you can do this, you can't do that, and things don't quite connect with you, and so these chakras start to get blocked. So how do we clear these? Well, obviously, through energy work. We clear these chakras through energy work. However, if we do not clear, if we clear them energetically, but we still hold deep-rooted basic beliefs, our core beliefs, certain things to be true, then we can clear those blockages, but they're going to come straight back again. So until we clear those beliefs, until we release those emotions, they're just going to keep blocking and blocking and blocking. So how do we release emotions? Well, we can release emotions through emotional relief therapy, through somatic body work. But we can also release emotions through shadow work. Shadow work is finding an aspect of yourself, a belief, a programming. Shadows aren't negative things. Your shadow casts on the ground from the light. It's nothing negative, it's just your shadow on the ground. It's your reflection, it's part of you. So to find those things, to embrace that programming that you have received that causes those blockages, We can call this shadow work, thanks to Carl Jung. But we can also call this chod, an ancient, I think it's 13th century Buddhist practice. But by embracing that aspect of you, by taking it literally out of you, putting in front of you, talking to it, acknowledging it is part of you, part of your ego, and your ego is there to keep you safe, according to what the program knows. So you cannot push these things away. You cannot fight them, because if you fight them, your ego will hold on to them even more. You must embrace them. You must have a conversation, whether that's literally with words or whether that's just with feelings, and embrace that part of yourself. Acknowledge it was there to try and keep you safe, keep you in your bubble. And then bid it goodbye. And when I say bid it goodbye, I mean it's an old friend. It's a warm embrace of your best friend going on a trip and then never returning. It's a very simple thing to do, but it is very challenging to do until you get this right. Shadow work. I work with a lot of people with shadow work. But they say, oh, well, I did it. But then it comes back again. It's like, if it comes back again, you didn't do it. You tried to do it. You attempted to do it. But you did not get that energetical vibration of giving this aspect of yourself pure, unrequited love, universal love, sending it bliss, acknowledging it that it was truly and honestly there to protect you, and then sending it on its way. So if you have something that triggers you, and you take this trigger, so you get annoyed every time someone does. If you take that aspect of yourself and you put it in front of you and say, thank you for doing this, thank you for trying to protect me, blah, 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 and you send it on its way. Next time you're with that person that causes that trigger, if it triggers, you did not fully send it away. You did not fully embrace it. You did not give it the love and respect it required. Because if you do, that trigger will be gone. There are many ways to work these things, but that is a very, very simple way to do it. It's just like in the last avatar, it's saying there is an emotion connected to each chakra. There isn't one emotion connected to each chakra. There are multiple ones. But the example is there. It's you must embrace it. You must accept it. You must realize it. So if you are a very fearful person, you are going to get stuck for a very long time at a certain chakra until you have released all the fears, not just fear itself, all the fears, and then fear itself for it to be fully released. So the next part is how to feel the stuck emotions. Well, you can either feel them as blocks, and as soon as you feel them as the block, you just accept it and you feel it, not necessarily as an emotion, as a blockage. And then you use energy and you just feel and you accept and you release and you accept and you fully accept and you submit to the energy and you submit to the release of this block. But it goes one step further than that, because as the block releases, you will get something. And this can be via shadow work, this can be via energy work. You will get resistance to the release. Thus, you must also embrace and release the resistance to letting it go. Because whilst you hold on to the resistance, it's never going to fully clear. For example, unworthiness at the back of the heart. It's so deep. You can either feel that unworthiness at the back of your heart and embrace it and acknowledge it and thank it for being there, because that unworthiness has protected you. What? It's protected you? Yes, it has been there to keep you safe. Your ego is there to keep you safe. Your programming is there to keep you safe. So embrace that unworthiness, acknowledge it, accept it. Let it permeate your full body. Therefore, you can take it out of your body, embrace it with the warm embrace it needs for protecting you all this time. And you can't pretend to do this. Like the video I made about being authentic, you have to do this authentically. And when you're pure and honest of heart, pure of heart, it's a famous saying, but it's so true. When you embrace it, when you accept it, you can then release it. Whether that means you have to allow tears to flow, you have to cry, you have to let emotions of sadness come up due to that unworthiness. Fine, let them come up. That's how it needs to be released. Brilliant. Those tears can then start with tears of sadness, become tears of joy, and you end up in fits of hysteria laughing. Because as soon as you realize it, that's what can happen. So there's so much karma. Karma is a tricky one because you have the karma of this lifetime. And then you have, this can be seen in two ways, karma of past lives or generational karma. The karma that is stuck in your DNA from your ancestors. And yes, they say DNA is a selective biological process through mating and blah, 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 blah. And the way species evolved is purely random and blah, blah, blah. Is it really? Or does the DNA learn over time, but it will store not just the good, but some of the bad? We hold these energy blocks in our system. We hold these energy blocks within our body. Yet we know our bodies are holograms. So if we store this energy block in our right shoulder, it's in the right shoulder of your DNA. And if you hold that over your whole life, that can be stored and passed in your DNA. Generational karma. So how do we release this? By going even deeper, by acknowledging to be truly authentic. You have to fully accept yourself. You have to fully accept what you are, who you are, how you are. And not just your programming. It goes deeper than that. It goes to your DNA level. And release that. It sounds, what? Weird. It is a simple process. It just takes work to go down, accept, clear. If you are truly, fully authentic with yourself, there will come a time, once you've cleared the blockages of your programming, the ones that will naturally come up are the blocks, the generational blocks, that you can then work on and release. See it so often in one-on-one energy sessions. It might not be the first session, it might not be the second session. But someone for example, has a connection that they are, for example, overprotective. And that person says, yes, I'm overprotective, but my parents were not overprotective with me. I do not know where that comes from. And it turns out it's because their grandparents or the great-grandparents or the great-great-great-parents were very overprotective people, and it got stored within the DNA. And therefore you must work on that deep energetical level to release it by being authentic with yourself, with what you were given, with your physical body, your DNA body, your emotional body. Anger in the stomach. Well, anger in the stomach is very common. Some people store anger in the stomach, some people store it in the head, some people store it in the heart. This is why when they say a chakra, each chakra is one emotion. It's not. It depends where you personally store the anger. How do we release this anger stored in the stomach? Well, first of all, we want to clear the energy blocks that we have energetically, just through letting it clear. But then we also have to understand that we store anger in our stomachs. Once it's cleared, does it mean we're not going to store more anger in our stomach? If only we're that easy. However, if you are in a situation that you start to become angry, if you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, this takes practice to do. But if you breathe out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth, whilst being angry, you will not let it settle in your body. It goes into your body, it's created in your body, but it gets exhaled out of the mouth and therefore it doesn't attach. That's one way. The other way is to have a temper tantrum. No, I'm not saying, fall on the floor and kick and shout and scream and like a kid does in the time when it happens. But hell yeah, go home and go and lie on your bed after the situation and do that and release it before it forms a block. Kids do it naturally. But it's not just kids, animals do it too. Dogs, cats, after a fight. Ducks, it doesn't matter, after a fight. Maybe if duck is being attacked by a fox and the duck gets away, what does it do at the end of the fight? It shakes it out and it shakes it out and it shakes it out. It's a way to clear those negative emotions. And kids that do it and dogs that do it and ducks that do it then feel better afterwards. And the ones that don't are the ones that then have psychological problems. Yes, because animals have psychological problems as well. The ones that didn't do that, they then store it. For them, it's much difficult to communicate to them to help them get it out, and that has to be done energetically. But it can be done energetically with your animals, not just humans. Bitterness in the sacral and how that connects to the stomach and the heart. Same thing as the anger in the stomach. It's done in the same way. Bitterness is an emotion of, we could say, unworthiness, of not accepting who we are because we let our programming rule us. And that bitterness is there telling us something is wrong. If you see a nice car, it's very interesting culturally. For example, you go to, let's say, France. I'm just saying France as an example. But a Ferrari drives down the road in France. The French people are like, oh, wow, that's an amazing car. They will go up to the owner. They will say, wow, I love your car. Go to London. Does that happen in London? No, most people in London will see that car and be like, ooh, jealous, bitter, ooh, oh, it makes so much noise, oh, it's such a high polluting car, oh, it's... Because really, they would love to have one themselves and they are jealous of that person. And they base their jealousy and they protect themselves from their jealousy because it's noisy, because that person's showing off. And they're not showing off, they're just driving their car. Whether driving a Ferrari is right or wrong or good for the planet, we're not going there. We're talking about the reaction of the people. Embrace, be authentic. And yes, I'm British, I can say this. And yes, most British who go to France love the French because they like their authenticity when compared to their own. It doesn't mean to say the French are authentic with themselves. Far from it. No one is. Because we all have programming. But some are worse than others. So the whole thing is a mesh, more like a mess. But damn, it is not worth it. No, it's not worth it. Work on your shadows. Work on your energy. If you're using energy through my transmissions to break these things, but the block is still there, you are not fully embracing, you are fighting, you are holding on, whether that is due to resistance or due to some seated belief that you have, you must fully embrace it. Hope that's answered the question. And if one person has asked these things, I know there are thousands and thousands of people who feel the same way, who suffer the same things. I can tell you, this is not something that's very individual to this person. There are many people who have exactly the same problems. Maybe it's bitterness in the heart and angerness in the head, but it is the same thing. So please share this video on your social media with your friends, with your family, so they can see it too. Because this is another thing. If you tell a loved one this, they automatically don't listen to you. It's part of our programming. It comes better from a third person. Children love to learn from their parents at the beginning. Then there comes a stage. They say it's age. It's not age, it's programming. It's programming because of their friends. It's programming because of the school. Because the school says, you must do it this way, not because of what they watch on television, because of social media. Therefore, they are programmed to stop listening to their parents. And so then the parent can't become a teacher for a while because then it comes back again for some. And so then that child has to learn from a third person because they've been programmed to learn from a third person. So share this video with people. Whether you think it can help them or not, share it with them so they can also have the opportunity to release these things too. And of course, just by subscribing to the channel and hitting those notification buttons, by hitting the like button, by leaving a comment, it will let the algorithm know that you like this video. It will help the algorithm know it's a good video, and so more people might like it too. So please do those things for other people, but also for yourself, because if you like this video and you hit that notifications button, it means you're going to be notified of when more of my videos come out.